We resume, and we resume with application number 11, 66 Simpson Avenue. We're looking at the applicant materials, and we have a staff report from Community Planning. So, applicant, join us please by stating your name.
Afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Jason Ho from POS Design. I'm speaking on behalf of the homeowner.
Very good. Thank you, Jason. Jason, I'm just going to check. We have one person standing by who is noted to be of interest. I want to see whether that person can...
Through you, Mr. Chair, that person was here. I'm looking now and they're no longer here, so I just want to give them a quick call.
We'll just hold for a moment. I'd like to see if we can further define their interest in the application. So Jason, just stand by for a minute, please.
Yep.
Hello, Danny Chan.
Yeah, speaking.
Hi, this is the Committee of Adjustment. We're reviewing 66 Simpson Avenue, and you registered to speak.
Yes. There was just some technical difficulties on my side. Is it my turn to speak now?
Not quite. This is the chairperson. Could you tell me, please, do you wish to speak in support of the application or in opposition to it?
Well, to be honest, I just wanted a little bit more information about the plan. Like, I got the I got the plan in my mail, and I had some specific concerns. I don't have any big opposition to it, but if maybe the applicant could clarify some of it, then I can probably be more in support or opposition.
Okay, sounds like we need a quick presentation. Okay, so thank you. Stand by. Your turn to speak will be in just a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, back to the applicant, and now we'll ask the applicant to... Jason, you have 5 minutes to present your application to the panel. Please go ahead.
Sounds great. Thank you. So the owners have purchased this this whole structure, which was formerly used as a group home that is of a modest footprint that's quite small compared to the rest of houses on Simpson Avenue. So what we're looking to do is to get a rear addition on the back side of the building, taking basically the same footprint or just slightly larger of the existing multi-story wood deck. And the owners have very keen interest in greening their dwellings, so we are proposing installation of extensive green roof on the existing structure. And they have elderly family members who potentially will be moving in, so we're looking to improve sort of some of the spaces within the houses to facilitate the cohabitation. So in terms of the variance that was identified, the primary concern about the height exceeding the 10 meter maximum has to do with the guardrails that we are erecting on a small maintenance area we're proposing for the intense green roof on the rooftop. The guardrail would put us at 10.044 meters, which is just slightly over the 10 meter mark, but the main structure remains below the 10 meter maximum height. We are proposing a small utility area on the rooftop because of the intensive roof kind of proposal, and we need a space for water connections and also a space to maintain the green roof. And because of the elderly family member, we chose to put in a full set of stairs to access that small maintenance area rather than a ladder for safety, and the guardrail is also to facilitate the safety of the family members when they're up there taking care of the green roof. So the existing structure already exceeded the maximum percentage of the main wall over 77.5 meters. That was the second variance that was identified. The addition is significantly lower than the height of the overall structure, the overall existing structure. So we are certainly hoping that the addition doesn't pose additional height challenges. There's no parking currently available on site, so we're not seeking to change that. The existing structure is about 0.8 meters from the west side lot line, and we are hoping that the new addition, as well as the rear deck that extends out from the addition, could align with the setback on the west end of the building. So that's sort of the variances that we're looking for.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's then go to Danny Chan. And Danny, so you've heard a little more about the application. Hello, Danny.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, Danny, what would you like to convey to the committee?
Yes, so between our two properties, I'm 60, I'm just on the east side of 66. We have a mutual driveway that kind of is in between, and we both share to access our backyards. And just in the proposal that I see, it seems to be that the mutual driveway is actually shortened by sort of the brick paver path that I see in the proposal. And I'm just worried that it will sort of block access to my backyard, really. In the previous surveys, in the application material, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there actually previously is a garage in the back, which allows for this mutual use of the driveway to access our backyards. And I guess previously there were cars going back there, but you know, I was just concerned that the brick paver path, I don't know if they're putting a gate in front of the big brick paver path that will sort of just block access to my backyard, which initially is currently a mutual driveway. That's my only concern.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to the applicant to address it.
Hi there. We are not seeking to install any fencing that's different from the existing extent of the fence on site. What we're looking to do is to really kind of clean up the backyard area. As you know, currently there's some rodent infestation issues, and it's not very sightly, and we kind of just want to clean it up. We're not looking to impede your ingress to your backyard.
So you're saying that the access provisions made by the mutual drive will not be blocked, will not be reduced.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, let's check with the panel members for other questions or concerns. Panel members? I'm not seeing any concerns or questions. So in that case, panel, if someone is ready to move to a motion, Ms. Valentini, go ahead.
Thank you. I think this is a relatively, in my view, a relatively minor addition. I'm looking at the site plan and all the information provided and listening to the applicant's presentations. It seems to me that the two-story addition being proposed is, I would say, slightly enlarging the current house. It is going beyond the original footprint, but when I look at the site plan, it's not far beyond either neighbor, or it's not beyond the neighbor to, boy, no, I'm not sure if it's west or east, but anyway, I think it's relatively compatible with neighbors on either side. I think that this addition will fit in nicely. So I'd like to bring forward a motion for approval of the application, and I'd like to make it subject to planning staff conditions for the screening along the west edge of the rear ground floor deck and along both the east and west edges of the rear third-story platform. I think that'll help alleviate any, overlook concerns. So that's my motion.
Thank you. Thank you. That motion is seconded by Mr. Byatt. So motion to approve subject to planning. All those in favor? Show of hands, please. And that motion is carried unanimously. The application is so approved. And the panel moves on to number 12, which is 98 Ava Road. We're looking at applicant materials. There are 5 photographs of existing trees from August. There's a commenting report from Transportation. And there is correspondence in support. 16 form letters by owners and occupants of Ava Road, Chiltern Hill Road, and Dewborn Ave, all received by November the 29th. So, on this application, we'll ask the agent to join us, please, by simply stating your name.
Drew Laszlo, you've been unmuted. Drew Laszlo, 98 Ava Road. Seems there might be a problem. I'm going to remove you from the hearing and give your cell phone a call.
Through you, Mr. Chair, perhaps maybe we can hold this item until we can get in contact with Drew and just move on to the next.
Okay, panel, we're going to come back to this application and keep trying to get a hold of the applicant. We'll move on to number 13, on which the applicant is standing by. So this is 850 Cosburn. We've got applicant materials, a revised site plan. There's a revised zoning notice from 3 December. We have staff reports from urban forestry and community planning. And there's one piece of correspondence in opposition from Eric Pressman, 12 Redner Road. Okay, let's bring the agent in.
Yeah, hello.
Hi there,
Can you
hello.
hear me?
We hear you. State your name, please.
My name is Xiaowei Chen. I'm the architect and agent on behalf of the owner of 850 Cosburn Avenue to present. My address is 70 Northern Crescent.
Good afternoon. Just stand
Good
by for a
afternoon.
moment
Thank
while
you.
Moderator, do we have Pasquale Zapete standing by? Okay, we have two persons standing by then. Okay then, agent, you have 5
Yes.
minutes. You'll have 5 minutes to present your application. Please proceed.
Thank you. The existing house, one-story building lot. So we have a new proposal to demolish the existing house to build a new house with 3 stories. We are requiring relief from the requirements of zoning bylaw as amendment. We have 6 variants. So 7 variants, but 6 variants, the titles share the same one. Okay, number 1, the permitted maximum height of buildings is 8.5. So our proposal to have 3 stories, the building height go to 9.95 meters. This one is the same requirement from the bylaw number 6752, same as the citywide. Okay, number 2, the permitted maximum height of all front exterior main wall is 7 meters. So our proposal is 8.6. Number 3, the permitted maximum FSI is 0.45. So our proposal is 0.98. Number 4, the permitted maximum lot coverage is 35%. So our proposal is 43%. So number 5, so architecture feature wall, so you can take a look at the front elevation. There is a particular decoration wall. That wall is extruded to the front yard 1.1 meters, but based on zoning bylaws required maximum 0.6. So the front elevation, I think another sheet. Yeah, this one. So this wall, this wall. Okay, number 6, the final variance is regarding the roof terrace. Bylaws, the maximum area for the roof terrace is 4 square meters. So our proposal is 9.76. So this one, so after we discuss with the planner, based on their suggestion, we reduced the original 40 square meter to 9.76. So totally 6 variants for today. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, then let's go on to the first speaker who's registered and have them join us. Please just state your name.
Tom Matrikoukas.
I believe that is me. Is it? I'm Tom Matrikoukas. Can everybody hear me?
We do hear you, Tom.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I am the owner, along with my elderly mother, of 848 Cosburn Avenue, and I just wanted to state that I'm not against them building a new home or upgrading the neighborhood, adding a second-story addition, or improving the area. What I did have concerns on is the number of variances and their extent. If it was 1, 2, or 3 and they were slightly minor, that's the whole point of this process. I wasn't aware that some had been changed, but the original variance notice we received is that there were 7 requested variances. Many of them are 20 to 100% more than what is permitted. Some of the ones that we had some big concerns were the floor space is more than double what's allowed in terms of that floor space index 1. The rooftop deck was 10 times the permissible size. It sounds like they've shrunken that down a little bit. And I have some big concerns over the amount of coverage area. You know, effectively, this seems to be very overreaching in terms of pushing the, you know, what is considered a minor variance. And there's not a lot of space left. Some of the issues we had is loss of sight lines. When you look at the front yard setback up and down the street, you know, we won't be able to see if a bus is coming or not, or other traffic on a busy road. On my side of the house, I have some concerns with access for right-of-way and maintenance and all the property runoff. If I look at the proposed drawings, I'll effectively call it 3 feet when you consider, you know, the very edge of my house wall to theirs. That's not enough to properly situate a ladder to go up, clean the eavesdrops, do any maintenance work, and that'll run well past the entire length of our house. And it doesn't really fit within the size and scope of the area. I mean, traditionally, there's a lot of bungalows in this area. Again, I'm not opposed to a second-story house. If they want a 1 or 2 or 3 foot variance on the height because they want to have 9-foot ceilings or something else, that's okay. But when I look at the height of this and 3 stories, they're proposing something that's higher than all the apartment buildings on the other side of the street, and there's very few, if any, within the immediate area. And if I probably expand out, most houses sort of are, you know, more traditional 2-story, 2.5 view. So for those reasons, you know, we're opposed to, you know, the proposal as it's outlined in the documentation we received.
Thank you very much. See if the panel any questions for this speaker? No. All right, let's go to the next speaker then. And
My name
go ahead.
is Pasquale Zappetti. I live at 852 Cosburn. I'm on the east side of this home. First I'll start off, but if you look at the frontage of our homes, pretty much every front balcony and front door is completely flush. From the corner of Rednor to Woodbine, there's 4 homes, and we're all equally, like if you open our front doors, we can see across. This new development, first the front will, with the porch, will go at least 3 feet, 4 feet and 3 inches further out than our homes. Then the other part as I have is the issue of the height, which is 1.45 meters higher than my home. We have a bay window in at the side of my house, which is going to face their right. I'm on the east side, so the east side wall, I will lose all kinds of sunlight because of the 3rd story. Again, I have a 2-story house to my left, which is on the east side of me, which I don't oppose of. They did renovations a couple years ago, which were great. Then it's also the square footage of the home, again, is much larger. Then they extended the house further back, which is almost 9.9 inches, which I have a deck in the back. We spend most of the day back there. I have 3 kids. They are in the yard. We sit on the patio. So we're going to lose a lot of sunlight. The other concerns is the front. There was one more. There's multiple concerns because almost all what they're requesting is way above what the standard is built in. If you see we're 4 homes on this block of Cosburn between Rednor and Woodbine, and pretty much there is a 2-story home to my left, and we're all they follow within code. The 3rd story to me is really high. I'll lose a lot of sunlight. And especially in the backyard, they'll lose the privacy because they're going to put a back deck patio looking over our backyard. There was one more concern I had. The size of the home is a lot bigger than it is, but there's a lot of variances. I noticed how the amount of, like, if you see the houses in East York, and especially in our block, they're pretty much all free. If they're a 2nd story, they stay within the width, the length of the home. They don't exceed almost 10 feet and losing all that sunlight that we have in the back. So, and there's a couple other issues I had. I'm worried about a water runoff, because if they have that 2nd story, the drainage and all that, because now they've occupied more of their property, and hopefully they can properly, because the rain into the grass. What else is there? Yeah, and the main concern is I hope they follow our right of way because of our property line. I have a car that I do park once in a while in the back, and if they go even 4 inches into or over the right of way, I'm concerned if, or even an inch, I lose that ability to park my other vehicle in the back because I can fit my smaller car in the back because I do drive a large SUV and it just fits in the front, and that's all my concerns right now.
Thank you. Let's panel any questions for the speaker. So we've heard from both the neighbors on both sides of the subject property. Okay, let's go back then to the applicant. And
Thank you,
applicant, you've heard from both of your neighbors on both sides. They're both concerned about
Yes.
your development. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, can you show the site plan on your screen? Yeah. Okay, basically look the front wall. The front wall is flush with the existing house. So look the light gray area. The light gray actually is the profile line of the existing house. So the front wall still stays there. We are not going to project extrude to the front yard. So we are not going to block the view from the neighborhood. Second, so we have a 3-story, but actually only 2-story from front and back. So 3rd story, so setback, or even the 2nd story setback. So can you see, take a look at the side elevation, please. Oh yeah, side elevation. Yes, this one. Okay, right side is the front, and left side is the back. So right side, so the 3 stories, 1 was setback from the front, only 2-story in the front. I think it's 6.83 something meters. Okay, in the back, we still setback on the 3rd floor. So we don't want to make the building very aggressive. Look at the dot line, the heading line, we show the existing building outline. So the front wall basically is there. So our proposal to flush the existing wall. Okay, can you please go back to the side plan? Sorry. Yes, thank you. So from the side plan, all the dark gray tone, this area is a new addition. So basically we just extend the Z portion to the backyard. And the left side yard, we extension some portion from the left side. Left side still keep the setbacks 0.9. This is compliant with the zoning bylaw 0.9. The right side, the setback, we just pull out the existing house setback. So regarding the, to talk about the driveway, okay, so our right neighborhood said, okay, we have a driveway with the backyard. Actually, because our house is just within our property and the setback from the property line. So I don't understand adding new construction will impact your driveway. No, another issue is regarding the water runoff, because adding construction here, we are not going to change the horizontal stormwater collection area. Whatever we do, the lot area is still there. So the water from the stormwater, we never going to change the collection area. So we do think
Applicant, yeah. Applicant, no, I don't think that stormwater management was raised by either of the neighbors.
Oh,
So
sorry,
you don't need to address that.
Yeah,
They were concerned about the roof deck size, they were concerned about the FSI, they were concerned about
thank
wall
you,
height.
yeah.
Okay. Unless there's anything else, we'll see if the panel has questions for you. No.
So
Okay.
that's, yeah, for instance, yes.
Yeah, I have a question for you. One of the neighbor at 852 said that he was concerned that the proposal would involve the front of your development jutting out in front of the line of the other houses on the street. Is that true? Or I thought you were retaining the front wall of the existing house.
Oh, yeah, please aside, yes, the front walls there, all these porch and the feature architecture wall extend to the front yard. So this one, I can tell owner, so this wall we can set back. This wall we can remove or set back within 0.6 compared to the zoning bylaw.
Is it in line with the fronts of the other houses? Is it in line with the front of the other houses on either side?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Regarding the three-story building in this street, so 820 Cosburn Avenue, only 5 houses away to the west, it is a three-story building.
Okay. Okay.
Another three-story building is 301 Woodmount Avenue, is 7 houses away.
Okay. No. Okay.
So,
Okay. Thank you very much. Panel members, any
thank you,
questions?
Chair.
Any questions for the speaker? Okay. In that case, we can take the application into panel for a motion.
Through
any-
you, Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify that for variance number 6, it will now read 9.76 square meters instead of 40.34 square meters. And that's the change that you'll note on the revised zoning review.
Can you confirm that for us, applicant?
Yes, I confirm.
Okay, thank you. Okay, returning to you, panel. Anyone wish to make a comment, or anyone ready to move right to a motion? Mr. Reed, go ahead.
Sure, I'll start. I think there was some misunderstanding of the plans with the neighbors, especially around the front facade. But I do think the applicant made efforts to mass this house to decrease some of the potential negative implications of it, and also with reducing the rooftop patio significantly. I think that helps. I do also want to note the broader area, not even far broad, but just within the same block on both sides. There's a really wide range of building types, from small apartment buildings to 4-story, either condos or walk-ups. But I think it is a very diverse area typologically, and even though the strip that it's on is mostly 1-story. So I think it shows an evolution and a bit of a sensitivity to the neighbors. So I would move approval of this application subject to urban forestry condition 2 and 3, and subject to the whole bunch of conditions in the planning report dated December 1st.
And with the revisions?
Yes, with the revised variance 6, which is, that's reflected in the December report.
Very good. Okay, Mr. Byatt, are you seconding, Mr. Byatt? Mr. Byatt is seconding. So it is therefore moved and seconded to so approve the application. Those in favor, show of hands, please. And that motion is carried by unanimous vote, and the application is so approved. So, moderator, do we have Mr. Laszlo with us now?
Mr. Laszlo, are you there?
I am indeed. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened.
No trouble
Okay,
at all. It
very good.
happens.
All right then, Mr. Laszlo, I'm glad to have you with us. Let me just check the situation here as far as speakers goes. There are no registered speakers, right? So I'll check then with panel. Panel, we're going back now to number 12. We're back to number 12, Ava Road, on which application we have the 16 letters, form letters in support. We have transportation services comment, and we have 5 photographs of existing trees from August, plus the applicant materials. Any questions for the applicant? Is anyone prepared to move a motion on this application? Ms. Valentini, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I've reviewed all the materials, which I thought were quite extensive and laid out the situation quite nicely. I noted that when I was reviewing that the proposal, in terms of its size, I think is similar in nature to the general context in the area, and particularly I did note that the footprint seemed to match both neighbors on adjacent sides, which I thought was good in terms of blending it into the fabric of the existing neighborhood. And so I think that this is a supportable application. In my view, it meets the 4 tests. So on that basis, unless anybody else wants to jump in, I'd like to make a motion for approval of the application. And I did note there was a lot of neighborhood support. So a motion for approval and it without any conditions.
Thank you. Second to that motion by Mr. Reed. It is therefore moved and seconded to approve the application without condition. All those in favor of the motion, show of hands. And the application is actually, or the motion is carried unanimously. The application is so approved. Panel moves on now to number 14, 343 Shaw Street. On this application, we have applicant materials. And we have support correspondence from 7 Harrison, from 306 Crawford, and there's a 5 signature petition in support from owners and occupants on Crawford and Shaw. That came in on December 2nd. Okay. We shall therefore ask the agent to join us by stating your
Good
name.
evening, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, and all the committee members. My name is Amir from Scorvis Architects, the agent on behalf of homeowner 343 Shaw Street.
Very good. Okay, agent, I'm going to ask you to stand by for just a minute. We also have registered to speak a party from 341 Shaw. Is that party with us? Okay. Let's just see whether we can clarify that party's stance or interest in the application. Stacy Costa, could you let me know?
Hi. Good afternoon.
Stacy,
I'm your chair.
may I ask? I want to ask you simply, Stacy, are you wishing to speak in support of the application or in opposition to it?
We wanted to speak in support, but we just wanted to clarify as well, just 1 or 2 points. Hopefully Amir could do that for us this afternoon.
Okay, then we'll ask the applicant then to make a quick presentation of
Thank you.
Okay, stand by, Stacy. We'll go back to the agent, Amir. Amir?
Yep.
If you wanted to, we don't need a full presentation. We just need, if you could outline the high points or the main thrust of your application, that would assist. Go ahead.
Not a problem. I'll keep my presentation short again, since genuinely we believe that the variants in this project are minor in nature and mainly triggering by existing conditions. I would like to start by adding the primary scope of this project was focused on interior renovation, with the exception of the new front dormer roof. We have 4 variances. Relating number 1, again, most of these are triggered by existing conditions. Relating to item number 1, there had been an existing concrete deck at the walkout that was in poor condition, and in an effort to restore this access and provide similar water damage issues in the future, we have proposed to relocate the stair into the existing garage. this was what has triggered the variance since the existing detached garage location was rightfully had only 0.15 meter setback, and now it's considered as like an attached garage. Hence, the fact the setback is changed from 0.15 meters. In other words, we are not doing any additions to this project. Everything is all existing condition. All the existing walls to remain as is. With respect to item number 2 and 3, I would like to start by highlighting again the fact that there has been no additional square footage added to the existing 3-story dwelling, as outlined in the site stats, page A101, right on the corner. If you guys want to present that to the neighbor on the left side, it's actually clouded with item number 4. We're using cloud number 4 on the left-hand side. On the left-hand side of this sheet, the site stat. Yeah. So as you guys as presented here, there's no additional square footage that's getting added, which relates to both on item number 2 and number 3, which has to do with FSI as well. With FSI as well as like the front height of the roof. We proposed a modest dormer with a similar angle to the adjoining property roof line to maintain and respect the streetscape. I would like to also add the original 1900s house design did not adhere to this variance number 3 to begin with. Relating to variance number 4, this has been an existing condition again, and this proposal did not trigger this variance. We're only proposing minor relocation and resizing of windows to accommodate the interior layout. Finally, again, I would like the committee members to acknowledge that our first plan triggered a total of 7 variances during the zoning review, and that this could be part of the confusion for the neighbor. This was mainly related to the size of the rear deck and the enclosed existing porch. Despite the planning team's support, we have revised the plans in efforts to efforts were made to reduce the variances and respect the bylaw, for which we've gone from 7 to 4 variances in that point. Again, as presented, as mentioned earlier, most of these variances were triggered on an existing condition that was remained. This was a 3-story building. It's remaining as a 3-story building. No additional exterior work has been done except that front dormer detail that we provided. So on that note, I'll close it off and I'll answer any questions that the neighboring property at 341 Shaw Street has.
Thank you very much. Let's go to that person now and give them an opportunity to speak. Okay.
Hi, Chair. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Perfect. Hi, Chair. Hi, Committee. I just wanted to say thank you to Amir for clarifying that. I think the main issue was, of course, that confusion with the patio expansion, and I'm glad that you clarified that. From our perspective, I'm also speaking on behalf of my 84-year-old grandfather, who's the owner of the house, doesn't speak English, and just wanted to clarify, of course, that that isn't going forth, and you made that so clear, so I appreciate that. Based on what you put forth, we actually agree 100% with the application, and we have no intent to stop it, and we just wanted to say and put on record that the neighbors have been so kind and been able to reach out through every step. So we just wanted to put that as well. So thank you for clarifying that. The only question I have is, will the dormer in any sense provide our home with any loss of sight lines? I don't think so, but I just wanted to clarify that question. Other than that, we're in support of the application 100%.
So your question is, will the dormer this proposed interfere with any of your sight lines?
That's correct.
Let's go back to the applicant. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're returning to you, applicant.
Thank you. If you could actually just present the elevation.
Yes, let's do
sheet. I believe it's 8. So, yep, and the A303, please. Thank you. So So part of that like note that I was just explaining, the answer is no. What we have done, essentially the wall that you're seeing that like the larger window is hosting is flush with your grandparents, I believe, house. And we're not really like extending that. Essentially what has happened is the portion that you're seeing to the north of that with a smaller window has been like brought forward or raised in better term to accommodate bigger like higher headroom in that area. So the existing roof, that the triangle that you're essentially seeing of like that ridge of the roof is still matching the existing condition of your neighboring property. We maintain that portion in order to like create like a harmony between the two units.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to the panel and see what questions they have for you. Panel members, any questions for the applicant? Ms. Valentini, go ahead.
Thank you. I guess it's more clarification. I originally thought you were adding the basement level addition under the porch in the back, but that's already there then, existing, right? The connection?
That was the existing condition, and we're just like using essentially that passageway to get into the garage instead of like having the walkout being on the backyard. That was a all concrete deck essentially that needs to be redone mainly due to water damages that would happen to the property.
The living space underneath is existing then?
It is a living space, existing living space condition.
Yeah, okay, I didn't realize that at first, but that's fine, thank you.
My question for you, applicant, is this, you mentioned that several of the variances were existing conditions, and where I just wanted to get clarity is those existing conditions are you know, how old are they? Why are there various items that are existing conditions that don't fit the bylaw?
So the item number 3 and 4. Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. It showed it mute on my screen. Item number 3 and 4 had to do with the architectural scope of that neighborhood in the 1900s, and they essentially the way that they connected the two adjoining properties, the semi-detaches, they would have that nice pitch of roof that would get shared in between and give it an illusion that it's a bigger house. And that has always been over 7.5 meters in most of my applications that I've dealt with. And so that item is really not, so those are the ones that are existing conditions based on the heritage of the design of that neighborhood. And it kind of like remained as is. In terms of like item, I think like the FSI, there has been a 3-story, this was deemed a 3-story as far back as we can remember, and as far back that we saw this. Permit packages or anything that was on there. Also, there is an active permit right now, which is still deeming it as a 3-story from my firm that was just doing like the underpinning permits and everything else adhering to that.
Now I get it.
Item number 1 is clear.
Okay, now I get it. Thank you for that. Okay.
No worries.
We'll take the application into committee and move to a motion. Anybody wanting to comment or?
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. Stacy did not state her address, but I just want to have it on public record that it is 341 Shaw Street.
Thank you very much. Okay. Panel members, Mr. Reed, go ahead.
Thanks. I think as the applicant had said, many of these, or most of these variances are existing conditions just based on the original structure of the house. And I think what's being proposed, they're all quite minor architectural works that are just basically updating the exterior with no real material changes. And I think it is a benefit to the property to have the exterior stair to the basement moved into the garage, connecting that up. I think that's a smart thing to do. And I'd like to commend the neighbors for being in touch with each other and civil and getting along. That's always nice to see. But so I think what's being proposed is truly minor and completely supportable. So I move a motion to approve with no conditions.
Thank you so much. That is seconded by Ms. Valentini. And it is moved and seconded to approve. All those in favor? Show of hands. Unanimous vote to carry the motion and approve the application. Thank you. Okay, on application number 15, we have submitted materials. We have a cover letter from the agent, November 30th. There's a previous Committee of Adjustment decision from 07. And there is correspondence in opposition from 9 Amelia Street. Joanne Gelatley. So, let's go to the applicant.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I'm the applicant, Trevor Gaines, here on behalf of the owners.
Good afternoon, Trevor. Trevor, you'll have 5 minutes to present your application to the panel. Please go ahead.
Thank you. We feel this is a pretty straightforward application. This is a small property. It's about 12 meters wide. The property itself is only about 4.6 meters deep. We were at the Committee of Adjustment, I'm not sure if it's this panel or not, to basically approve a second floor for a new dwelling unit over top of a restaurant space. As this project has been going under construction, given the limited size of the space and with the mechanical requirement for the restaurant plus the heating and cooling and the duct spaces, it really chewed up the available space on the second floor to make an adequate apartment, not only for building code sizes, but just usable space. So it's decided to add another floor to this building, just to, not for another dwelling unit, but just to expand the dwelling unit, push the bedroom up on the 3rd floor. So as a result, it triggers some variances, mainly all resulting from the lot size. For example, variance number 1, rear lot line proposed is 0, but the required is 7.5. But again, our property is only 4.75 meters deep, so that's an impossible to get. And then again, because the building occupies almost 100% of the lot, anything we go up, it's just going to trigger an additional coverage. Instead of 2, we're asking for 3 because of the 3rd floor. And then the mix with the 2nd floor residential, it just increases our allowable residential mix from 2 to 2.09. So overall, we do think this is fairly minor. It's just a result of the construction requirement for the ground floor tenancy of the restaurant, and we seek your approval.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go then to the first registered speaker, moderator. And we'll ask that speaker to join us now, please, by stating your name.
Hi, my name is Joanne Gelatley. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I live at 9 Amelia Street.
Good afternoon. You have 5 minutes to express your concerns to the panel. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. As residential property owners and taxpayers, myself, Joanne Gelatley, and my spouse, Kim Siofe, live directly across from a familiar restaurant on Amelia Street, and it's critical that city officials consult with adjacent and proximate residents on this application to participate in further expansion at 8 Amelia Street. Regardless of the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on commercial entities, consultation with residents provides a vital and necessary component of any review of an application to grow and expand any contemplated or permitted by the zoning bylaw. The neighboring application for the adjoining 8 Amelia has much concern for the continued building expansion along an area that is specifically being attributed as a residential side street on Amelia. In 2020, we filed several complaints to the city regarding the lack of communication and consideration regarding the 2020 installation. At the time, the expanded commercial activities on the street were eventually moved back to beyond our view for Cafe TO. What is both alarming and disconcerting to us is now it is this history of problems with commercialized operations that appear not to have been considered when the current application for our ongoing construction continues to expand mixed-use operations into heritage residential zones that are directly across from residents. We have read the guidelines that all factors need to be considered. This is a commercial residential area, and as such, everyone, both residents and business owners, are required to follow the standards set out in zoning bylaw 569-2013. This is not the case in the respect of this application associated with the city that appears to be oblivious to the impacts we have shared and outlined of our viewpoint of commercialization expansion on a residential side street. We are only too well aware of the needs of Toronto business owners to attempt to recoup and recover from losses emanating from a prolonged lockdown. However, the approval of an outdoor cafe or pub areas of this size and impact merits more fulsome review, particularly where it is situated on a residential zone where houses and properties abut one another. We continue to have much distress with the ongoing expansion on our residential side street of commercialized operations. This particular street has been zoned residential and only goes one-way traffic to Parliament Street. We appreciate fully this type of exception and flexibility that is applied otherwise to rigorous rules and regulations in light of COVID. In fact, we tolerated the permissions in 2020, notwithstanding the impacts that they created on the street generally and specifically to our property and our right to the peaceful enjoyment of our home. We are inclined to now embark on further exceptions and flagrant departures from the requirement of the zoning bylaw in 2021 and beyond. Kindly remember that the pandemic is not to be relied upon as an excuse to circumvent zoning standards or the introduction of unwelcome, unsafe, and adverse impacts on residents on a residential side street. Balancing the rights of commercial business owners with private residents is a challenge, but that requirement cannot be made in the interest of profitability concerns. There is nothing impactful about examples like Amelia that is expanding into its existing footprint.
I must ask you to make your final comment now, please.
Businesses. However, to permit this application to proceed, given the nature of the neighborhood, the proximate residential streetscape, the safe flow of pedestrian vehicle traffic, the impacts on safe ingress and egress into our property and the laneway and the noise and the associated impacts of introducing new use onto a side street with further business expansion without consultation to the residents being considered. We do not consider this a minor variant, and we have much concern and distress about the noise.
Thank you very much. Panel, any questions for this speaker? We move on then to the next registered speaker. Do we have another registered speaker, panel?
There was one other final speaker, but they are not present and I can't contact them.
Okay. So there's just one speaker today. One we have tried to get to and can't. So we can at this stage go back to the agent, who will have a chance to address those comments in rebuttal.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll start off with that this section from Parliament Street all the way back, including number 12, Amelia Street, to the lane before the residential section start, is zoned CR, mixed-use commercial residential. So what we're proposing here is an allowed mix. After reading our neighbor's comments. I'm not sure what she's referring to. Maybe she's referring to the patio that happened at number 12, our neighbors. We are not an operating restaurant yet, so there is no patio that happened this summer, or the noise, other than maybe just some standard construction stuff that was happening on the site. So I don't think this is a blatant regard of the zoning bylaw. As mentioned, our property is kind of unique. We don't have the typical property that maybe they have, or even any of the properties heading north and south on Parliament Street, which might be in the 30 to 35 meter depth. So when they add any expansion, they're probably still within like the 1 times coverage, just under 1.5 times coverage, and just given the size and the nature of our existing lot, kind of wedged in between these properties, no matter what we do with creating minor variances. We do realize it's a heritage district. We reached out to Heritage after the first committee of adjustment, including this one. There's no comments on file. Everything is in keeping. We do recognize that this is part of Cabbage Town, so I don't know if maybe we can put up the elevations. If we could just scroll down a couple pages to the front elevation, this one. The design, the 3rd floor is really kind of an attic space. We did, sloping roof, picking up on the 3-story houses, the row houses down the street, dormers, the siding, all in keeping. Again, working with Heritage on that. So this is a residential component. This is not a commercial component. And maybe the neighbor was just misunderstood. But like I said, we have no patio. So if she's referring to the Teal Cafe program, that's a completely separate entity and not in front of you today. And I think those are my comments.
Thank you very much. At this point, panel members, your opportunity to put questions to the applicant. If there are any, hearing none. Okay, we can take the matter into committee for a motion. Anyone want to comment on it or go right to a motion? Ms. Valentina, go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for the clarification from Mr. Gain. When I originally read this, I thought this seemed to be pretty, what I still do think is simply pretty minor. I do remember this when it came before the committee before. I think I had the benefit of sitting on the original application, and I thought it was just to add for Ontario Building Code purposes to have the proper size for a bedroom. So given how small the footprint of the lot is, they have to go up another floor. I think the way it's been in terms of the elevations, what we've heard that there's no comment from Heritage. It sounds like they've been working with Heritage, and I think there are no variances for height, but I think it's going to blend in nicely with the surrounding neighborhood. So I'm in favor of the application. I think this is truly is a minor variance. I think the numbers might look high because of the lot size. I mean, there's, the building takes up the whole lot. So I don't know if anybody has anything to add, but I'm ready to bring a motion forward for approval of the application, and there are no conditions.
Thank you for that. Second is by Mr. Byatt. It is moved and seconded to approve. Those in favor, show of hands, please. And that motion unanimously carried. The application is approved. The panel moves on to number 16, 192 Dunvegan. Here we are looking at applicant materials. There is a revised site plan instead of floor plans and elevations, 1 December. There is a previous committee decision from 01. And there's a staff report from community planning. In opposition, there's correspondence from 190 Dunvegan, 57 Hillholm, and 200 Dunvegan. So I'll ask the agent to join us, please.
Afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Lucas Cocamillo from Chill Engineering, residing at 2157 Royal Windsor Drive.
I beg your pardon. You were a little bit. Your voice is a bit muddy somehow. Would you state your name, please?
Sure. Do you hear me better right now?
It's a little louder, which does help. Yes. Okay. But could you state your yeah?
Sorry. Okay. My name is Lucas Cocamillo from Schiller Engineering, residing at 2157 Royal Windsor Drive.
Thank you very much. Okay, Lucas, yeah, we're having a little trouble. I'll let you know if we can't understand, but we're having a little trouble. Your voice is just a touch muddy, for whatever reason.
Let me try something. Might be my headphones. Do you hear me better right now?
That is better. It's a touch too loud. Turn it down a touch, but that's much better.
All right.
I think we're in good shape now. Lucas, you'll have 5 minutes to present your application to the panel. Please go ahead.
Sure, no problem. So I'm here today representing the owner of 192 Donevegan Road. We're here proposing a new 2.5-story wood frame dwelling within this property. We've been in contact with community planning and the neighbor on 200 Donevegan Road, Deborah Zucker, and both community planning and the neighbor and all the neighbors who have presented opposition on the project made it known that they had concerns with a few of the items that we're requesting for forgiveness today. Some of them being the maximum building height, wall heights, the previous balcony that we had off the rear of the property. On December, we resubmitted a revised set of drawings on December 1st, removing and revising variances that were in line with community planning's reports that they've also posted on December 1st. Within the objection letters that the neighbors have posted, they brought up a variety of concerns related to trees, foundation issues on the adjacent properties, items of those nature. With regards to the actual trees, if we uploaded a arborist report, and within the arborist report, it actually notes that we are going to be replanting about 10 trees in compensation for the amount of trees that we are proposed to remove on site. And I'm pretty sure it was 190 Donevegan, the owner, they had a concern with their foundation and whether or not this proposed construction was going to create an issue with that. To address that concern, we are actively getting a shoring design put together. This will be all addressed during the building permit phase. And his concern with that was mainly related to the side yard setback and opposing us going in for the 1.2 meters where 1.5 is permitted based on the zoning bylaw. We were looking into what was previously approved within the immediate area, and the current variances that we're requesting right now as of December 1 are in line with what has been previously approved within the area. Items like building length and depth, we're requesting 29.1 meters. Properties that have been previously approved of greater building lengths, for example, are 203 Donevegan Road, which is across the street from the subject property we're discussing now. Another property that was given that was provided forgiveness on building length was 209 Donevegan Road. They received 29.31 meters in building length. Property now with regards to like side yard setbacks, 180 Donevegan Road received 1.2 and 1.15 meter side yard setback. So essentially, all in all, the variances that we're requesting today, we aren't asking for anything greater than what has been approved. We're asking forgiveness on items that have been previously approved and are in line with what is currently happening in that area. Let me know if you have any questions and I can try to answer them.
Very good. Thank you for that. Now, Let me just ask you, are you familiar with the staff report that was provided to the committee by community planning on December the 8th?
Yes, yeah, so I spoke to, I think her name was Catherine Chung. She was the main respondent on this project. We both discussed everything on this job, and the items that she has noted are in line with the most up-to-date plans that were submitted to community of adjustment.
Okay, let's, are you saying that, so you've seen the staff report dated December the 8th, or, sorry, but not the dated December 8th, the staff report dated December the 1st?
Yes, correct. I've seen it. I reviewed
Okay,
it.
and so you have seen it, and then you took what action having seen it? Have you?
Pardon me, sorry, see that.
Okay, let's go back here. But have you had you have seen the staff report dated December the 1st, which is very detailed. It's
Yep.
unlike staff reports that the committee sees very often in its detail of which variances ought to be refused in the opinion of planning and which ones ought to be revised. So did you take any action to revise your application in light of that? Or
Yes, we revised our drawings for the subject property based on what planning has requested.
Through you, Mr. Chair, perhaps Lucas can go through the variances that are being revised for public record.
I think that's going to be important, Lucas. Okay, so for the public record, it is important that now that we're with you here in the Committee of Adjustment meeting, we're going to need to go through the variances that and the notice and actually work one at a time through them with you for you to specify what your intention is, the way that you want the application to stand today as the committee considers it. So let's go to the application, and we'll go to the list of variances, and we can keep it, we'll keep it quite short. So on variance number 1, what is your intention?
Okay, sorry. So variance number 1 has been removed.
Very good. Variance number 2, what happens to it?
Variance number 2 is for maximum building height. We reduced it from 13.7 to 13.47 to 12.47.
Yeah. In fact, all you got to do is, on the ones that are revised, just give me the new number. That's all I need.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Okay, we're going now to variance number 3 on the notice. What do you want to do with that?
Variance number 3 has been removed.
Thank you. Number 4.
Variance number 4 has been removed.
Thank you. Number 5.
Variance number 5 is now 1.58 meters.
Thank you very much. 1.58. Okay. Number 6.
Number 6 is to be retained.
Number 6 is retained?
No change.
No change.
No change.
No change. Unless I have it wrong, the planning staff report. Okay, this is your call, but number 6 stands. I think the planning staff report recommended its refusal, but that's okay. We're doing what you want to do. So okay. 7.
Item number 7. The building depth is actually 27.1 meters.
27.1 meters is the revised number.
Correct.
Thank you. Number 8.
Building length is, that one is to be retained.
To stand as it is. Okay.
Correct.
Number 9.
Number 9 is to be retained.
Thank you. Number 10.
Number 10 is to be removed.
Thank you. Number 11.
Number 11 is to be removed.
Number 12.
Number 12 is to be retained.
Number 13.
Number 13 is to be retained.
Number 14.
Number 14 is to be removed.
And finally, number 15.
Number 15 is to be reduced to 11.38 meters.
11.38 meters. Very good. Thank you for going through that rather detailed exercise with me, but it does give us clarity for the record.
Sorry,
And,
Mr. Chair, one more clarification. Purpose of application. Currently, it reads to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling with front and rear first-story decks and a rear second-story deck. Are we removing and a rear second-story deck from the purpose? Lucas, to confirm?
Yeah, the second-story deck is related to the balcony for item... For item number 10. So the rear second-story deck is to be removed, yes.
We'll change that wording
Thank
to
you.
good. Very good. Okay then. Thank you for that. And panel members, any questions of the applicant at this stage? No. Okay. Okay, then we do have some registered speakers standing by. So we'll go to them now and
Oh, hi, I believe I'm unmuted.
yes, you are. Could you state your name, please?
Yes, my name is Deborah Zucker. I'm the owner of 200 Donevegan Road, the house immediately to the east of 192 Donevegan.
Very good.
So I guess I'm going to speak a bit towards the original application, but I still feel that many of these variances still exist in the...
Oh, okay, Deborah. Have you taken... Okay. Go ahead. You have 5 minutes to address the panel, so go ahead.
Deborah, we're having trouble hearing you. You may have cut out. I don't see that any volume is coming through at all. It doesn't show that you're speaking. I'm gonna remove you and give you a call so you can rejoin. In the meantime, we have Glenn Williams.
In the meantime, we'll go on to the next speaker. We'll return and see if we can pick up
Yes.
with Deborah in a little bit.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. And I'm Glenn Williams. I'm, along with my wife Charlene, the owner of 57 Hill Home, which is directly adjoining and to the west of the proposed development. We've lived in our house in Forest Hill for over 20 years. I'd like to say I'm totally impressed by the committee and its members for the attentiveness to this matter, as well as your ability to focus on these issues. So thank you very much for participating. We've never met the owners of 192 Donevegan Road, and they've not extended us the courtesy of consulting with us beforehand, any details of the proposed development. And we appreciate the city informing us in terms of the notice process. So it did come as a surprise to us about what was going to be proposed in our backyard. So we've read the report by the planning department that was referred to earlier, and we concur with the findings that the proposed development is certainly non-conforming and it's excessive for the size of the lot and the neighborhood. And we request that the proposal be denied. As I indicated, the building is excessive for the size of the lot. It's only 1.2 to 1.25 meters from the neighbors on both north and south. There's very little grass and a bunch of very mature trees are proposed to be cut down, and there are massive trees on the adjoining border between our lots, and these need to be protected, not cut down. I know, and some of them are actually on the common lot line. So we don't really know what's being proposed there, but this is Forest Hill. We got to protect our forests and our forest cover in our city. In terms of the site plan, I noticed that there's an area defined in the survey called pool equipment, covered lounge, kitchenette / barbecue bar area. Are there structures here, and why is that not included in the GFA calculation? It says that these are covered structures, so they're not tents, they're not mobile, they are structures. And we have no idea what we're going to be looking at. There's no east elevation of these structures. How tall are they? What's the floor area? I mean, what are we looking back, and what's the setback of these structures versus the property line? There's nothing, no information is provided. The other thing that I'm concerned about is, in compliance with the city, our understanding what the city requirements are, that the city requires all of us to take our downspouts and not to tie them into the storm drains. Rainfall is supposed to be shed from the structures on the lot and absorbed by the soil or grassy area of the lot. And it is clear that there is not enough soil absorptive material in this development to take the rainfall and not discharge it to the storm drain. So patios and pool are not soft elements. They are hard elements. They're made of concrete or stone. So I don't understand where this word soft comes from, because a pool or a patio does not absorb rainfall. And just for my quick analysis, the grassy area is certainly insufficient to accommodate anticipated rainfall. So there's a significant possibility that this rainfall will be discharged onto the adjoining lots, including ours. And there's no information provided in the application concerning water flow and site drainage. I think that's unacceptable. If the proposed developer wants to provide us with a safe, harmless, and indemnification for flooding of our property, that's another matter, but none of that has been provided. So anyways, I thank you for your stamina and your consideration. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, panel members, any questions for the speaker? Okay, thank you. Let's go back to the moderator now to see if he has had success contacting, reconnecting with.
Hi, yes, sorry.
There you are.
Can you just tell me where you lost me? Or I guess I can't, I'm just gonna keep going.
We lost you.
So,
we lost you exactly as you were beginning to get into the. You were just about to begin your presentation, so we really didn't get any of it.
okay, so I'll just start basically telling you that it's my opinion that the requested variances proposed, in particular the encroachments in the front and rear yards, the overall building length and setbacks at the side are not minor in nature. What is being proposed is an unnecessary overdevelopment of these lands, compromising the streetscape and impacting the availability of light and privacy of adjacent properties. This is not a development proposal that is desirable or appropriate for the site, and we'd request the committee to consider rejecting the proposal. The projection of the front entrance has definitive impact on the overall street wall frontages of the street, projecting beyond both neighboring buildings. This will impact the streetscape, narrow our sightline from our house, and will have us looking at a wall. Furthermore, this is disproportionate to the other houses on the street. The proposed building length and covered main floor deck area severely impacts the light and shadows into our backyard. In addition, the deck and other balconies, which have now been taken off, impose significant overlook conditions into our backyard, impacting our privacy and comfort while in our backyard. It will eradicate our quiet enjoyment of our quiet space. As I mentioned earlier, we really have not been given sufficient opportunity to review the revisions that have been submitted. There are some items that I would like clarification on. For example, the north side elevation. There's a staircase that's not shown on the front east elevation, but it abuts the property line. It seems to go right up to the property. I'd like to understand the height and just how this impacts the side yard setback. I also would like to understand the garage, the sloping of the garage, and why the whole house has to be built up to such an elevation. The south elevation at the back in the rear yard, it seems like the grading doesn't really reflect the true conditions of what's on the drawings. So I request that, should the committee decide to approve this application, that a condition for a tree removal permit be included in the decision, as there are some very mature trees shared between our properties that would need to either be destroyed or significantly injured. And we did hear that some trees were being planted, but are they being planted on this property or planted somewhere in lieu? And in conclusion, the application does not meet the 4 tests. The requested variances fail to maintain the intent of the city's zoning bylaws and are not minor in nature. The outcome of the requested variances is a home that is too large for the application to be considered minor, and it does not appear that the proposed building is adhering to the general intent and purpose of the official plan.
Thank you very much. Any questions, panel? Okay, then we can go back now to the agent. And agent, you've heard the 2 speakers, and this is your chance to comment and rebut on their concerns.
So, with regards to the owner of the Hill Home property, the way the grading slopes in this area, his property is raised significantly higher than the subject property on 192 Donevegan Road. Hill Home is, let's call it at least 7 feet higher. So if we're talking about rainwater drainage and the natural grading slopes within the immediate area, everything is going towards Donevegan Road, from Hill Home down to Donevegan. But to further continue addressing that, when we go for the actual building permits, a final grading plan showing water drainage has to be submitted as part of the final application. So with that concern essentially being up in the air, there really isn't any stormwater issues related to this. When it comes to the actual pool and softscaping related within the rear yard, pervious, like areas that you could still drain water with, yeah, we have a little bit of grass there. But at the same time, the pool, based on what the zoning bylaw prescribes, is part of the softscaping area, right? And that basically keeps water contained within it. With regards to Deborah Zucker's comments on whether or not this project, this application abides by the 4 tests of the Planning Act, everything we are requesting is not exceeding what has already been previously approved. On 51 Hill Home Road, they were approved of a significantly bigger house of 734 square meters, where we're in the 656 square meter range. They have a building depth of 32.58 meters. We're looking at, again, like 203 Donevegan Road, bigger house, 0.85 times floor space index. We're at the same, we were asking for the same variance, but they still have a bigger house. We're at 656, they're 664, 664 square meters. Side yard setbacks. Again, we aren't asking for the most. 51 Hill Home received a 0.46 meter side yard setback and a 1.27 side yard setback. So, you know, this application, we aren't overbuilding, we aren't overdeveloping the actual site. We're maintaining what is currently happening in this area. This pocket of Toronto, on Donevegan Road, multiple houses, brand new houses are being built up, like 2 or 3 a year. So, are we building a big house? Yeah, yes we are. But it's not something that's out of character within this area. This whole area is being redeveloped. All the existing 2.5, 3-story buildings that have been there for, let's call it, last 5, 10, 20 years, they're all getting demolished and new homeowners are coming in. Also to address the Hill Home owners' concern with the subject owners not actually approaching him with this project. He's not in Toronto all the time. He's got multiple businesses he's running, so for him to go and take time out of his days is rather difficult for him to actually do this. In the case with Deborah Zucker, we took time. We spoke to her on I think it was November 30th. We had a meeting with her via Zoom and discussed with her the actual application and what we're doing to try to reduce some of the variances or remove some of them. Should you have any questions or concerns with my response, please let me know and I'll answer them.
I must ask for your final comments now. Or have you made them? Hello?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Your final comments, please.
Myself, sorry. You want me to make final comments?
Yes, or if you've already done so, pardon me, but your time is running out now. Do you have anything further to say?
No, to be honest, no. The way we've revised this application up to this point, we feel that it's minor in nature.
Thank you very much. Panel members. Ms. Valentini, go ahead.
A couple questions. What's the first of all the height of the current house? Looking at the proposed elevations, it looks like, is it the same? Overall height, I guess, to be more specific.
Versus the existing house that's currently on site.
Yeah.
Let me see that.
You're asking for a building height of 11.38, which is one. I'm curious how that compares. That's what I was looking at. That front elevation. Oh, here we go. Was it on there? I can't see. Sorry, I'm trying to find it in my plans. And can somebody
We can write down the existing heights.
So you don't know what the existing height or the existing FSI of the current house? I know you're taking it down and putting a new house up, but I'm trying to get a handle on the size of the new house compared to.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the existing house is 435 square meters based on the 2001 decision that was issued. That was also posted online.
Okay. And what is that in terms of, I guess I could look. How does that compare with the current FSI you're asking for? Okay, so you're asking for a fair bit over what was last posted. Oh, okay, the prior variance. And then the other thing is did you, I noticed this is a waiver, but I think I heard you say that, and I know the neighbor at the rear was speaking about the soft landscaping and, you know, how is it possible that there's a soft, you know, the variance for that. And then when you look at the plans, so you're saying the pool is the only quote unquote soft landscaping feature at the back? That's what it looks like based on the site plan. So, and that qualifies? I don't see any other softscape, but maybe I overlooked it.
So we have grass immediately around the property lines, the side yard property lines and the rear yard property line. going all around. You may have to zoom in a little bit more. So where we show sod, that's essentially where the grass area is, and based on how the zoning bylaw reads, we can use, we've placed the swimming pool area within the rear yard soft area, because it's basically containing water within the actual boundaries of the swimming pool itself.
Oh, okay, that doesn't look like I'm looking at the revised plans, and I guess this must be the site plan, but it doesn't show softscape it doesn't show sod on the revised site plan, so maybe I just assumed what looks like to be the pool deck is softscape. So there is sod around the perimeter of the patio.
Yes.
And so that would be around the pool equipment, the covered lounge, and the kitchen at bar area?
Yeah, all the way around that, all the way around that space is gonna be sod.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Further questions for the applicant panel?
I guess one other thing, do we have urban forestry? We heard some issues about trees. Do we have any urban forestry conditions or anything? Nothing, I didn't see anything, no?
Can I say something about that? I noticed that
Sure.
as well. It's they didn't post like a report requesting that we need that they want us to get a tree permit in. We've already submitted a tree permit, tree removal permit for its application back in June or July. I'm not sure if that was relayed over to the committee members and chair. But we've already submitted a tree removal permit. It's pending committee approval for this. There it is.
So
yeah,
for-
see, this wasn't posted on online, so I think it's just the 1 and 2.
I don't see any communication here from Urban Forestry to Committee of Adjustment.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, there is. It's the standard forestry report. It's on the screen right now.
Oh, okay. Pardon
Yeah,
me.
it's under other business as part of our materials list.
Okay. Thank you. Okay then, Mr. Byatt, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to commend the agent and I suppose the owner of the property for coming up with the revisions and of course making adjustments to a variety of adjustments, as in deleting as well. A number of variances requested. I do have one question though. Variance number 6 still remains and is recommended by planning that we refuse that variance. I'm not sure if the agent has any response to that.
Variance number 6.
Number 6.
Number 6.
Can we have the staff report brought up, please?
Pardon me.
Can we get the staff report on screen?
Okay, we'll do that.
So, variance number 6 isn't proposed to be removed. Are you talking about number 6 under recommendations?
I'm looking at the planning staff report that says variance number, it's item number 6, variance 10, for the size of the rear first story deck be refused.
That's fine. Yeah, no, we're aware of that.
But you've allowed, the question to you is, you've asked for variance number 10. Oh, no, no, variance number 10 has been deleted. Yes.
It's been deleted.
Yes, it has been deleted, Mr. Byatt.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm looking at it as item number 6, but it's variance number 10. You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, then in that case, panel, we're in committee now, and if anyone on the panel has thoughts to offer here, that's fine, or we can go right to a motion, whatever panel members choose. Mr. Reed, go ahead.
I'll start, and I think we're all delaying because this isn't a very easy file. I do respect the fact that the applicant has removed a bunch of the variances being requested, but it's hard to take these in on the fly and understand what this actually means. And so that's part of my challenge here, is understanding, okay, that's great, we've lost a lot of variances, but is that a meaningful impact on the application? I'm honestly not really sure, because it's just hard to tell from the plans. I'm not so concerned about this house being proposed as it is from the front, or even the FSI, but I think the depth is really, it goes back really far, and I know that is kind of the pattern of new developments in this area, but I don't find that desirable. I think it's going back really far into the backyard, and so I'm not really sure, honestly, where I'm standing now, but I'm leaning more towards refusing the application as it stands.
Thank you very much. Ms. Valentini.
I agree. First of all, the number of changes that were, at the last minute, it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I'm trying to compare the old plans with the new plans, and I'm sure for the neighbors it must be overwhelming as well. It sounds like it. My reaction to this is the depth is quite large, and I think even the FSI, I think the combination of the two, in my view, with all the other structures happening in the backyard and the pool and whatnot, I feel like this is a lot for this lot. It is a big lot, I understand that, but I'm not in support of the application. I feel like this is going to be a lot of house, even though the lot is large. It's going to be imposing on the neighbors, so I won't be supporting the application.
Thank you. If anybody else wishes to comment, fine. I think I'd add the comment that I agree with my colleagues. And it is unusual for us to see a staff report of that detail. And it did look like a lot of the things that might have been contentious were removed, but even what remains is still of concern. So I won't be supporting it. Mr. Byatt?
Thank you. I think your final comment about the number of comments that they're not just comments, they're actually recommendations for refusal by planning staff. I haven't seen that many in a couple of years that I've been doing this. So that to me is definitely an alarm bell. One of the neighbors who spoke out about the soft landscaping, I understand this is a swimming pool, but my understanding of soft landscaping isn't a pool, and I concur with the neighbor that actually commented on that. You've got a very large property with the possibility of really improving soft landscaping. We are living in an era right now that soft landscaping becomes very, very critical. You have an opportunity, somehow it doesn't seem quite right. So I concur with my colleagues who have indicated lack of support.
Thank you very much. Anyone ready for a motion?
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Can I make one more comment?
No, the panel is now in committee. Mr. Reed, go ahead.
Based on our discussions in committee, I'll bring a motion to refuse the application.
Is there a second to that motion? It is seconded by Mr. Byatt. So, motion to refuse. Moved and seconded. Those in favor of that motion, show of hands, please. And that's a unanimous vote to carry the motion and thereby refuse the application. And with that, the panel moves on to number 17. On number 17, we are dealing with submitted materials, staff report from Urban Forestry, and correspondence in opposition from 54 Wheeler. Looks like that would be next door, Mike Sanderson. Okay then.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Oh, good afternoon.
My name is Dino Giulietti. I'm the architect of this project. My address is 19 Ferronia Place in Woodbridge.
Thank you very, very much. Okay. Let me just check with the moderator on whether or not we have a speaker standing by. We do. Okay, Mr. Giulietti, you have 5 minutes to present the highlights of your application to the committee, please.
Just before you begin, sir, I've noticed your mic volume is going from high to low. If you can just stay in one spot in relation to the mic, it'll help us hear you better.
Okay, no problem. We are proposing an expansion and a renovation to an existing one-story single-family dwelling. There will be multiple two-story additions, one being over the existing one-story single-family dwelling, and the second being rebuilding a poorly constructed one-story rear addition and expanding above it. We are also proposing underpinning, interior alterations, a new front porch, a rear deck, and 2 third-story balconies, one in the front and the other in the rear. At this point, I'd like to address each variance. Variances 1 and 2 are similar to each other. The proposed third-story balconies simply follow the outline of the stories below. The balconies will be no closer than the existing side main walls for both front and rear third-story balconies in relation to the side property lines. Variances 3 and 9 are similar to each other. They are required due to the existing topography. As mentioned in the notice, a 2.5 meter encroachment into the rear yard setback is permitted. However, we exceed the required side yard setback due to the land sloping downwards from the front of the house toward the rear. The ground floor is much closer to grade at the front of the house than at the rear, so when you walk out into the rear deck, there is no way to not exceed the maximum 1 to 2 meters height above the below the platform. That's permitted. Variances 4 and 10 are the same. Although we exceed the maximum permitted height, a large number of homes on the street have a third story, and there have been multiple other properties within 150 meters of the subject property that have been granted height variances similar to and exceeding our proposed 10.75 meters. Some other properties granted a height variance on Wheeler are as follows: 84 Wheeler, 10.53 meters; 112 Wheeler, 11.29 meters; 152 Wheeler, 11.08 meters; and 154 Wheeler, 10.97 meters. With these 4 examples, the average height is 10.97 meters, which is higher than what we are seeking. Also, the first 2 stories in front of the house maintain the existing permitted front yard setback, while the third story was stepped back 1.5 meters from the front main wall in order to mitigate the impact of the proposed building height on the streetscape. We did not want to have a flat 3-story wall on the front of the dwelling. The third-story rear main wall was also stepped back to allow more privacy for the neighboring backyards. By going up, we did not require variance for the building depth and have been able to provide a similar sized landscape area in the rear yard as to what is currently present. I also had some correspondence in regards to the height with planning, and they felt that we had done enough and had decided that planning did not need to comment on our application. Variance 5, although we exceed the maximum permitted sidewall height, we have tried to minimize the amount of sidewalls on the third story. The west face of the proposed third story is only 0.44 meters west of the second floor main wall of the adjacent neighbor to the north. The proposed north wall is only 8.5 meters in length as compared to the ground and second floors below, which are 15.24 meters in length. The south third floor main wall is only 7.34 meters in length as compared to the ground and second floors as well. And as previously mentioned, we have stepped back the third floor from the front main wall by 1.5 meters. Variance 6, the existing lot area is small, and after some research, we have found other properties within 150 meters of the subject property that have been granted FSI variances similar to and exceeding our proposed 1.00 FSI. Some of the other properties on Wheeler are as follows: 35 Wheeler, 1.00 FSI; 49 Wheeler, 1.06; 112 Wheeler, 0.97; 162 Wheeler, 0.98; and 163 Wheeler, 1.29. There were a total of 17 properties on Wheeler Avenue in the research that we gathered. Their average FSI was 0.89. However, with only using the highest 5 examples, the average FSI is 1.06, which is higher than what we are seeking. Variances 7 to 8 are similar to each other. The southern property line and the southern main wall are not parallel with each other. In fact, as the main south wall extends towards the rear, the side main wall is skewed towards the property line. Also, there is an existing poorly constructed 1-story rear addition that will be removed and rebuilt. The removed rear addition currently has a 0.11 meter side yard setback. So what we are proposing is much better than what is existing, and we are making the conditions better. In conclusion, we feel that the proposed variances are desirable and are minor in nature, and that the design is in keeping with the changing character of the neighborhood while still maintaining the general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw, and so would respectively request your approval on our application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, then, let's go to the speaker that's standing by and ask that speaker to join us by stating your name, please.
Can you hear me?
We do.
Okay, my name is Mike Sanderson. I'm the owner of 54 Wheeler. Unfortunately, I was unable to get my neighbor to the south at 50 Wheeler to register in time, but he's also in support of my position. My concern are many. The exterior wall height of 7.5 meters, which is 24.6 feet, is now 35.2. The roof height will be 35.2 feet, and the lot coverage will go from 0.6 to 1, which is a 66% increase. I actually had 2 drawings. A picture's worth 1,000 words. I'm not sure that's the case in my renderings here. However, yes, there you can see the impact of what would happen to my house, and my light would be completely obliterated. I'd look out my upstairs bedroom window. If I looked straight, I'd look into a wall. If I looked up, I'd still look into a wall. I'd have to stick my head out the window to see the sky. So that's one of my main concerns. I do have concerns with water mitigation. As you can see, the front driveway of their property is completely paved. There would be very little space at the back of the house. And as the architect said, it slopes towards the back and to the south, and there'd be very little table land left to absorb that whole entire roof area that they're collecting. So I think it's completely out of character with what's going on the street. All the houses are old beach type houses. There's some new ones. It is maybe a great drawing, a great architectural rendering. It's just in the wrong location on too small a lot. I think there's anything else. So it's basically light, and it's excessive overreach, I believe.
Thank you very much.
And I do have one other concern, is during these proceedings, the applicant tried to contact my daughter, who will be living there, and he tried to contact me in order to find out what our objections were. And I find that kind of, I don't know if it's illegal, but it certainly was irregular, and it spooked my daughter quite a bit. So
You didn't see it in the spirit of consultation?
Well, he had lots of time to do that before the final hour, you know, like, that speaks of kind of intimidation to me. He could have contacted me before.
Right. Okay. Very good. Let's see if the panel members have any questions for you. Panel?
Yeah.
Questions to put to the speaker? No. Thank you very much. Let's go back to the applicant, who will have an opportunity to comment in rebuttal.
We are a little surprised. Can I go? Okay. We are a little surprised by the neighbor to the north's objections, as my client has had many conversations with the daughter and has even allowed them to get electricity from our property during their own renovation. The city had to turn off their power, so they asked us if they could use our power from our house. So we did that. We've never heard any objections until the last minute. So that's why my client, the owner of the property, decided to try to get a hold of them as they, you know, put their objections at last minute. So you want to see what was the reasoning behind it. In terms of the grass area in the rear of the property, we're maintaining the same amount as what's currently there. So we don't see that as being an issue. There's no variance required for soft landscaping. There's a property at 35 Wheeler that has a similar situation in terms of, it's a 3-story house. Actually, it looks like a 4-story because it has a garage below it, but it's only a 3-story house. And on either side of that house are much shorter single-family dwellings. So we're not changing any of the character of the neighborhood. We're adhering to it. And most of the houses on the street are 3 stories, 2.5 to 3 stories. So I don't see any issue with what we're proposing.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll begin with a question then. The treatment of your front yard under the proposed application is what? I notice it doesn't seem to have drawn a soft landscaping variance.
There's interlock pavement now, and there was a wider front porch, which we are reducing in size and adding soft landscaping. So directly in front of the house and on the south side of the proposed front porch, that'll be soft landscaping.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, panel? Go ahead, Mr. Chang.
Hi, hello. I just have one quick question about the height and the shape of your roof, because I think that's how you trigger some of these variances. So the first one is the maximum permitted building height. So I guess they were measuring from the top of the parapet. And then there's the fourth one. I think the original idea of these zoning bylaw capping the side walls at 7.5 is to maintain a hip roof type of style along the street, and you have a flat roof design matching with the 10.75. So I just want you to talk more about that. What's the rationale behind? How do you think it would impact the streetscape? Do you know if there are any other examples that you can share with us?
Yes, it's 35 Wheeler Avenue has a 3-story flat front face of their dwelling. Ours is at least on the 3rd story. We're stepped back 1.5 meters to try to mitigate the impact of this on the streetscape. So we wouldn't have an imposing 3-story straight up right in front of, you know, right next to the neighbors. So that's why we step back the 3rd story. My client wanted a more modern design with a flat roof. He wanted to be sure to have full height walls on the 3rd floor. He didn't want to have to deal with knee walls. And it's just part of our design. The zoning bylaw doesn't really take that into consideration with their short wall heights that are permitted.
Okay, I see that now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hearing no more questions, let's take this application into panel, into committee for a motion or discussion. If anyone wants to offer any thoughts, Mr. Back, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just start. I personally don't see a difficulty with the application. It is a changing neighborhood. It's certainly the style of the project is very common these days. Flat roof, squared off building. While I understand the concerns of the immediate neighbor to, I believe it's to the north. It's one of those dilemmas that I suppose are part of the changing landscape, as it were. What I do also want to comment on is the fact that the third floor is set back quite a great deal from the rear, and that hopefully will also allow for some sunlight into the back of the house. And the neighbor's daughter may well want to change her home at some point in time to reflect what we see, what we're beginning to see in the street. The agent also noted, I believe it was number 35 Wheeler, which is visually certainly appears to be quite a massive structure with a flat roof top and up to 3 stories. So I don't have any real concerns with this particular project, and I would be quite willing to support the application. I believe there's only a forestry condition, forestry number 1.
Thank you. Is there a second to Mr. There is a second, Mr. Reed. So moved and seconded to approve, subject to forestry. All those in favor? That's a unanimous vote to carry the motion, and the application is approved. Panel moves along now to number 18, 63 Berkeley Street. We've got submitted materials, covering letter from the agent, August 13. A final and binding letter for decision on a 2020 Committee of Adjustment decision. Email correspondence from the applicant, 1 December. Staff report from Heritage Preservation Services, and 1 letter in support from 57 Berkeley, Saul Chernos. So let's have the applicant join us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Stefan Pack, and I'm the owner of 63 Berkeley.
You're the owner. Good afternoon. Okay. All right. Anyone on this application in the committee wishing a presentation or any questions for the applicant? No? All right then. I think we can move right to a motion in that case. Mr. Reed, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember this application from before, and it's extremely benign. It's surprising that a home occupation is not permitted where a commercial one is and a residential. So I think this is just really smoothing out a strange zoning bylaw condition. So I think there's 0 negative implications from approving this, and it's a minor request. So I move to approve the application subject to the heritage condition from December 8th.
Second, Mr. Byatt. Moved and seconded to approve, subject to heritage. Those in favor? Unanimous vote. So the motion's carried and the application is approved. Now, as discussed at the beginning of the hearing, number 19 is being held over to the start of the next group of applications.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. Given the fact that we're past that 2 o'clock time, we do have all the speakers online now, so we could deal with the request for deferral at this time.
Well, let's do it then. Understood, panel? Let's do that then. If all the speakers are standing by, then let's deal with the request for deferral. Okay, we'll ask the speaker to join us. Pardon me, the agent.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We do. State your name.
Great. Yep, this is Nicholas Antro, 31 Scarsdale Road.
Okay, Nicholas, could you tell us, please, why you would like to have a deferral?
Yes, so we got a notice from Forestry against this application. Since then, we had we had a phone conversation meeting with them, and we also met with some of the neighbors, and we'd just like to have a little bit of, we also spoke to the neighbor, and they agreed with us. So we'd like a little bit of time to basically adjust our application to basically satisfy, best we can.
So are you planning consultation with the neighbors during that time?
We've already met with the neighbors, so based on what we do, we will circulate it with them, and I think about 4 of the neighbors came out when we met them, and we're also planning to work with Forestry a little further as well.
Look at the forestry concern, okay. Well, okay then, so in this situation then, we have a number of neighbors dutifully registered and standing by to deal with the application today as it stands. So committee will make the decision of whether or not to defer, but we do want to speak with the neighbors. So I'm going to do that now. And neighbors, I'll be speaking with you, but not with respect to your concerns about the application. I will simply be asking you whether you are in favor of or opposed to deferring the application. And this will be for the information of the panel as the panel decides whether or not to hear the application today as it stands or to defer it. So let's go through the registered speakers that are standing by and just ask them that simple question. Are you agreeable to a deferral, or do you want to go ahead now?
Marcia Selleck?
Hi, Marcia.
I've unmuted you, Marcia. You don't need to press the button right now.
Okay. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes. Marcia, would you be...
Yes.
Are you willing to, or would you approve of the application being deferred, or would you rather hear it right now?
Given that they need to come up with revised plans, I would agree with deferral. However, I would like to say that if there's a way that they would consult with the neighbors in advance of the new plans, and that when it comes before committee, everyone is advised that there is a new committee meeting. We had to initiate that meeting with the plan to even go over this plan. So I would agree with deferral, but I would like to know that we would be consulted about the new plan.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Graham Silver?
Hello, yes, this is Graham Silver. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you do. Are you...
Okay, I would agree with in terms of the deferral as well.
Thank
And
you very
I would
much.
also second Marcia's comments with respect to communication with the neighbors.
Okay, thank you. Shannon Molinar.
Shannon Molinar did not join or respond to calls to join, so we're going to move to Rob Thierry.
Hello, Rob.
Hello.
Rob, would you
I'm
be...
Rob Tyree. I live at 63 Duncannon. Thank you for having me. You guys are doing a wonderful job. I appreciate your time and efforts.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your comment. Rob, would you be... How would you feel about a deferral, or would you rather hear the application heard and decided this afternoon?
I prefer deferral. The whole process has been, I feel, rushed and very surprised. And I would like more time. And I do agree with Marcia that there should be consultation in between. I clearly heard the applicant not wanting to have consultation, but I really like to have consultation before we go back.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Next speaker, please.
David Richardson.
Yes, hi. I live at, thank you very much for your time. I know you guys have a very busy day.
I live at 57 DUNCANNON, directly across the street from the proposed property.
Right.
I agree with the rest of my neighbors. I do encourage a deferral, but I do want to point out that in the over a year that he's lived at this property or he has owned this property, I've yet to meet this person in person.
Okay.
So yes, I would agree that we would like to have some type of consultation before the plans do come back to committee.
Thank you so much. Next speaker, please. Are there any further speakers?
There are no speakers, there are only observers at this
Okay.
point.
All right then, let's go. So there we are, panel. We've checked with 4 panelists, or we've checked with 4 registered speakers who were standing by. All of them are supportive of the idea of a deferral, but they unanimously said they would want to see consultation included as part of that deferral. So, we'll take it into committee now for a motion or discussion. Any thoughts, panel? Mr. Byatt, go ahead. Mr. Byatt?
I'm so sorry again. I'd like to move a motion to defer this application.
Okay, and do you want to make any condition of with respect to this need to consult?
I'm not sure if one can make it a condition, but I would certainly encourage the applicants and to communicate and consult with the neighboring property owners before they come back again.
Okay. How about wording something like, defer in order to allow the applicant to revise the application and to consult with neighbors?
Perfect. That sounds great.
Is there a second to that motion? There is, Ms. Valentini. So moved and seconded to defer. Those in favor, show of hands, please. Unanimous vote. Carries the motion. The application is deferred. And that's good. We have looked after that one. So that won't have to go to the beginning of the next segment. And we come now to our final application on the first segment. If you notice, I'm not calling it the morning segment, it's the first segment. And this is number 2232 Cedric. So on this application, we have applicant materials, revised site plan, 19 November. Covering letter from the agent, 16 November. Email from the agent, 16 November. And we have correspondence in opposition from 234 Cedric Avenue from 2 parties, Pedro Martins and Chow Duong. So, we'll ask the agent to join us.
Hello, good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. My name is Eddie Perez. I'm at 537 Rogers Road. I'm here representing the client and the designers.
Very good, thanks, Eddie. You'll have 5 minutes to present the highlights of your application to the panel.
Yeah, as you can see, we're proposing to build a 3-story building. If you can put up the elevation, the 3rd floor is just a partial 3rd floor. It's very modest. It's set back on both sides. We have a variance of cover. Floor index, we're only over by 0.1, which is 0.81. The length, we're over just by 13 centimeters. The height, we're 8.5. We have 10.14. And the side yard is 0.61. That's the side where they're saying about the right-of-way. We're not infringing on the right-of-way because the right-of-way is 0.53 and we're leaving 0.61. And just to note, number 6 variance, I'm going to remove that feature, so there won't be a variance for number 6. We're going to line it up with the existing house, so there won't be any projects. Because I realize it's on top of the right-of-way, so I'm going to take that feature out. So item 6 will be omitted.
So
Thank you very much.
You are deleting item number 6, and that's Is that the only,
The front elevation is the features going over beyond the wall. We're gonna put it flush with the wall.
okay. Just so we have the application down in terms of the variances. 6 is deleted. Are there any other changes to any of the remaining variances?
No, there isn't.
Thank you. Okay. Very good. Let's then go to the speakers that are standing by and registered.
Pedro Martins.
Yes, hi.
Hello there.
Hello?
Yes, you are with
Hello?
the. Hello.
Sorry.
State your name, please. You're with the panel now.
My name is Pedro Martins. I am the owner and resident at 234 Cedric Avenue, the house directly to the north. I'm glad I just heard Mr. Perez say that he's removing the variance request number 6. I still have some concerns though with number 5, mainly like the height and the length of the building, everything being a 3-story. I'm fine with all that, considering that's what's happening in the neighborhood. That's what everybody seems to be doing. But my concern is the protection of my right-of-way, the access in and to my garage with my vehicles. There is, if you look at the basement floor plan drawing, I numbered that number 5 in the paperwork I sent to you guys in the PDF file. It shows there's a washroom and a furnace room. This furnace room is going to require venting, and my concern is that at the request they're asking for a 0.62 meter setback from the side lot line. This furnace is going to need to be vented, and I'm concerned that this venting will extrude into the right of way. So I feel right now the current house is at 30 inches from the property line. If they can maintain that 30 inches from the property line, that will ensure that this building that they're proposing to construct will not interfere with my access into my driveway. That is my main concern and my only concern. Like I really strongly oppose a 0.62 meter setback from the side north lot line. I
Okay.
would like that the committee withhold the current bylaw at 1.2 meters.
Okay, so I think I understand. You'd like to see minor variance number 5, you'd like to see it refused. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's move on then. Thank you very much. Any questions here, panel? No, we'll move on then to the next registered speaker.
William Evans.
Yeah, hi, I'm joining from my car. Thanks for calling me. I was online this morning for 9:30, but I realized after attending that the sessions do run over time. So thank you for whoever called me. I appreciate that. Again, with my neighbor, Pedro Martins, I oppose this simply because it's going to be a very large structure and it's directly across from me. It's going to, we don't have a lot of skyline left in Toronto. For me, I'm not on that same side as Peter. It's going to basically block the evening sun. It's a western exposure. It's going to create more traffic, and I'm just tired of construction on Cedric Avenue. We've had a lot of construction. It's continuing. It's ongoing. There are small children on the street, and I'm just wanted to have the opportunity to voice my opposition to this application for variance, and that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling. Okay. I think that's the final speaker, right? Okay, we can go back to the agent now for...
Yeah, I heard the gentleman's, what they're asking for.
Go ahead.
We won't put any vents or anything on the right of way. We can either do it to the back or through the roof. I'll make sure, I'll make point on it to put on the drawings when I do the drawings, so there won't be any venting to the right of way section. If you can put up the site plan the survey, the actual survey, you can see that, right now there's a chimney that is 0.53 centimeters away from the property line. So we're actually improving it a little bit from what's there, because there won't be anything within the right of way. It'll be exactly maintained what's there now, even a slight little bit better. So I feel that what we're proposing is very minor in nature, is in keeping with the area. And we did take into consideration the neighbors. We put third floor. It was reduced on the front portion and the back. It's not a big third floor, and we're within the floor index. We're like said 0.1 over. So I feel that what we're asking for is very minor in keeping with the area. There's bigger homes on the street, and that's all I have to say. Hopefully you agree with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Panel members, questions for the agent? Hearing none. We can take the application into panel.
I just ask, sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I was just looking at the survey. So
Sure.
you're gonna be clear of the right of way? You're gonna be like right up to the right of way? What's the situation?
No, the right of way is 0.53. We're leaving 0.61, so we're leaving more than what the
Okay.
right of way is.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. We can go into committee on this application now. Anyone have any comment on it or a motion? Mr. Byatt, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Looking at all the plans, and I think the applicant appears to be quite accommodating, both for the right of way and not just the width of the right of way, but also the venting issue. I think is quite accommodating. Looking at the design, the third floor again is also quite well set back. There are changes happening. The days of bungalows seem to be coming to an end. So I think that's part of the pattern for the future. Density certainly increasing. I would certainly be open to putting forward a motion to approve. The only condition that I might add is the one that the applicant suggested, that the venting, the furnace venting, be relocated to either the roof or the rear, and no other conditions attached.
Why don't we say that? I agree with you. Why don't we say that in terms of the venting, furnace venting be relocated away from the right of way?
That would sound good.
Okay. Second to that motion? Mr. Reed does second. So it is moved and seconded to approve the application with that condition about venting. All those in favor, show of hands, please. And that is a unanimous vote to carry the motion and to so approve the application. And with that, we do finish the first chunk of applications. We are now about 20 to 4. I don't think we need a full hour, but we can get by with maybe 40 minutes.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we can do 45 minutes.
45 minutes. We'll do 45 minutes. That'll take us until 25 minutes past the hour of 4, at which time we'll resume. Until then, we're in recess. Thanks, everybody, so far.